Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Book Creator Summer Webinar Series. Hello, and welcome, everyone, to our special Book Creator webinar series. Tonight, we're focused all about middle school and using Book Creator in 5-8 classrooms. I am so excited you're joining us live or watching the recording of this. I'm doing double duty today as host and facilitator, so you'll see on the side of my screen as we're going to get ready to move through some slides. But before we do, go ahead and find the question box in the GoToWebinar control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. If you can't find the control panel, it might have collapsed for you. There's a little orange button right there, but find that question box and say hello, where you're from, your name, and we'll start off with some shout outs today. Welcome, John from Ontario. Welcome, Sally and Viv from New Zealand. Debbie from Australia. Wonderful. Mary from Nebraska. Caroline from Norway. Patricia from Arizona. Cindy from Williamsburg. Jessica, welcome. Welcome, Lori from New Hampshire and Peggy from Arizona. Sharon from Maine. Sally from South Jersey. I'm in New Jersey today too. Sally, although North Jersey today. Tanya from Australia. Jessica from Kentucky. Margaret from Texas. So many folks joining with us live today, whether you're watching us live or you are watching the recording on this on YouTube. I'm so glad that you've carved out some time to talk a little bit about what Book Creator can look like in middle school classrooms. So that question box on the right-hand side of the screen, that's going to be your spot to pose some questions as we go through today. So I'm going to pause periodically to take a peek. So if there's some questions that you have, you can use that space to put in some questions while we talk and go through today. So let's start off with a quick poll so I can get a read of those of you who are joining us live today. You can click one of these responses on your screen. How familiar are you with a Book Creator? Are you a pro? You've used it a few times, or are you brand new? So I'm looking at our responses here. It looks like about half of you have used it a few times, and a quarter of you are pros, awesome, and about a quarter of you are brand new to Book Reader. Well, don't worry if you're totally brand new to Book Reader, because we are going to do an overview today real quick, and there is a great resource on the Book Creator YouTube channel, a webinar recording with all about getting started with Book Reader. So don't worry if this is totally new for you. So tell a little bit about yourself so we can get a feel for here. We're focused today on that middle school band, but you might support or teach some other grade levels depending on your role. So interested to see what grade levels you teach and support, even with our middle school focus today. Awesome. So it looks like the bulk of us, so 90%, more than 90% work with students in grades 6, 8, which is no surprise given our focus for today. And then some of you work with high school, about 17%, then about a third of you with K2, and a half of you with 3, 5. Remember, those numbers aren't going to add up to 100 because you can choose more than one for this one. And then what subject areas do you teach? Now, you might teach all of these. If you click Other, you can use the question box on the right-hand side of the screen to share some of the topics or that you teach or your role. Maybe you're a media specialist. Maybe you support instructional decisions in a different role, so you can always put that there. It looks like we have a tech integration, media specialist, some others of you on the list. And as I look at your poll, remember, this is another one where you could choose more than one thing. About half of you work with ELA and math, and then a quarter with science and social studies. So we'll look at a range of activities for middle schoolers today. And then finally, have you used Book Creator on Chrome before? So thinking specifically about Chrome, Have you used Book Creator on Chrome before? So we'll be looking at some Chrome examples, some Chrome screenshots. We'll go out and see Book Creator in action on Chrome. So all things to just think about as we're getting ready to go through. Awesome. So it looks like about almost 2/3 of you, so more than half of you have tried it out before. Some of you have only used it on iPads, and then of course with our first question, right, some of you haven't used it at all before. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share my screen with you and take you through a little bit of a background on Book Creator, and then we'll jump right into some special things to think about when it comes to the middle school classroom. So today our focus is middle school spotlight using Book Creator in 5-8 classrooms. My name is Monica Burns. I'm an ed tech and curriculum consultant. I'm a former New York City public school teacher, and I taught grade 5 for 6.5 years, some of those years with iPads towards the end now, and I support students and teachers in a wide range of environments, including middle school. So I'm happy and excited to have carved out some special middle school time for you today. Now, this is almost the last of our summer webinar series for Book Creator, wrapping up the summer together, but we have one more on the schedule. And it is a high school spotlight. So if you are supporting students in 9-12, next, almost not quite next week, so 2 weeks from today or 2 weeks from now, we'll be talking about Book Creator in high school. So pencil us in case that's something you're interested in as well. So Book Creator is an open-ended creation tool. You can use it to create and publish books. You can have completely customizable experiences. So it is open-ended. There's no rules, there's no levels, there's nothing like that. You can make whatever you want when you are inside Book Creator to publish books to share with the world. So you might make digital portfolios, poetry books, step-by-step guides, science reports, learning journals, comics, you name it. So many things that you can create with Book Creator. And we'll look at some project ideas and some workflow and some things to think about specifically for middle school today. So how are teachers using Book Creator? Well, they're using Book Creator in lots of ways to publish student work, to give kids a space to demonstrate their understanding, to promote collaboration in the classroom, to set a purpose for learning, and to give students a space to create for an authentic audience. So many ways that teachers are using Book Creator. So we're going to do a quick overview for those of you who are totally new or need a refresher of what Book Creator looks like on Chrome. Remember, if I move through this a little too quickly, you can always head over to Book Creator's YouTube channel. There's a special webinar there all about getting started with Book Creator on Chrome, and that's where this webinar recording will live as well. So that way you'll be able to access this and some of the previous webinars from the summer. So when you head over to the Chrome web browser on your device, whether it's a Mac or a Chromebook, and you go to create a new book, you have 6 options for a book shape. On the top, you have your plain ones. On the bottom, you have your comics. And as I go through this quick demo with you, I'm going to be using the landscape, not the comic version, but the landscape that you see in the upper right-hand side of the screen. Once you choose your book shape, you go straight to designing your cover. You can use that plus sign in the upper right-hand side of the screen to do a few different things. The first one is to import or search for an image. This could be from a file on your computer, from your Google Drive, or even with a search. Also have the ability to go ahead and search for a perfect picture. Once you've got that picture right there on your page, you're able to spin it, move it, turn it in whatever direction that you like. That plus sign at the top of the screen also lets you add with the pen tool, so you can draw like you see my drawing with my name right here. You can use the plus sign to add text as well. So you have the option to add text to the screen. You can go ahead and change the background color of your page. And if you haven't been in Book Creator recently, there's all sorts of new options. We'll mention a few today when it comes to those backgrounds. And you can even record your voice or add a voice recording to any page. Now there's the shapes tool, like you see that blue rounded rectangle right behind it. These are all things that we cover in the Getting Started with Book Creator webinar, and you'll see me profile a couple of these special features, especially as they connect to middle school while we're together today. So why are teachers using Book Creator? Well, there's the ability to easily access interactive pages, to put a combination of media onto the page. There's accessibility support, which is crucial, really special thing that Book Creator has ready to go for all learners. And you can create shareable products that you can show off to the whole world. So as we focus specifically on middle school today and using Book Creator in 5-8 classrooms, you'll watch as we are focusing on text features, highlighting different app smashes, and talking about publishing with a purpose. So when we look at middle school, especially today, we're talking about students in grades 5 through 8, around ages 10 to 15. That's going to be our focus area. I'm sure for those of you who support other grade levels, you'll walk away with ideas today or some of the project ideas you might scale in different directions too. So we're going to look at some Book Creator features really to leverage with this specific group, this specific population, especially when it comes to text, video, images, and audio too. You're going to watch as we talk a little bit about some middle school app smashes, whether it's Google Docs, Flipgrid, Spark Post, right? It's really all about voice and choice in middle school, giving kids lots of ways to show off what they know, to leverage some of the other tools they might be using, and to create a product that really shows what they know. So some of the popular products for middle school, and we'll go through some that are specific to different subject areas as well, our daily journals, exit ticket collection, final products or culminating products for a unit, and of course a portfolio that they can take with them to high school or to the next grade level. So in that same question box where you introduced yourself and where you are from, go ahead and answer this question. What types of products do your middle schoolers create? What types of things do they make to show what they know? Let's see what kind of things. John mentioned comics as being one thing that middle schoolers create. Doretta mentioned nutrition books. Cindy mentioned journals, reports, or single-page presentations. Sally mentioned things with tools like Google Slides or Docs or how-to videos, movies, PSAs, lots of ones coming in from those of you joining us live today. Podcasts, awesome. I saw a question come in about purchasing with Book Creator. We'll talk about that before we leave today, so I'll make sure to get back to some of those questions that came in a little bit earlier. We see some things coming in now about graphic novels, reading response journals, so lots of ways that middle schoolers are creating digital or not digital products to show what they know over the course of the school year. So let's go ahead and start off together. We're going to look at a few different activities and subject areas where students in middle school can create products to show what they know using Book Creator. This could include English language arts classroom, science classroom, math, social studies, foreign language, you name it. So many ways for students to create something with Book Creator. So in English language arts, you might be focused on having students show what they know or show off their skills in a few different areas. This could include reading and writing, speaking and listening focus. Maybe you're thinking about a variety of different text types that you want students writing in, whether it's narrative or informational or argumentative or persuasive. And of course, having kids create authentic products. So I want to start off by spotlighting for you An awesome example that you can find on the Book Creator blog. Mira Campbell shares her story, and at the bottom of some of the story slides that I share with you, you'll see different bit.lys. These are short links that take you straight to the blog post so you can learn a little bit more about the stories that I'm sharing for you that are featured on Book Creator's blog and part of what's happening in Book Creator Ambassadors classrooms. So in Mira Campbell's story, in her blog post for Book Creator, which you can access at that bit.ly/Book Creator Adventure, she had her students create choose your own adventure books. Now, what's really cool about Book Creator that's perfect for middle schoolers is that your students can create books that link and jump from one page to the next. So if you've ever read a paperback choose your own adventure book, you know that when you get to the bottom corner of a page, it says flip to page 45 if you want this adventure, or flip to page 27 if you want that adventure. Well, you can do the same thing with a digital product, and it's a great way for your middle school students to think about different pathways of learning. So check out this picture she shares in her blog post, where students are making decisions and choosing multiple pathways for their story. So they have a plan before they even head over to Book Creator. Then once they're on Book Creator, they can decide what's going to happen next and who is going to go to what spot in their book. So because Book Creator lets you add links, so not just links to the web, but links to other pages, you can jump around from one part of the book to the next, and middle school students can think about where they want their story to take their reader. And so creating these Choose Your Own Adventures books is a spin that is perfect for middle schoolers who may want some more choice, who might be ready to tell a story in a more dynamic way than elementary school students. So this is definitely one to check out, and Mira Campbell has a great blog post all about this on Book Creator's blog. Now, a few of you mentioned some ways that your students are creating products already to show what they know. Reading response journals are a great way to do this. So you might have students write daily reflections. Maybe they write in a set format or with a set prompt, or maybe you accommodate for different needs by giving kids options on how they're going to put in their entry each day. Maybe some students are going to work on pencil and paper, snap a picture and add that to their page on Book Creator. Maybe other students are going to record their voice and add a little button so that they can listen in or share what they've read. So teachers, I should say, can listen in and they can hear that audio response. So reading response journals are great in middle school when you're building routines for readers. You can give kids a way to respond that is comfortable with them. And if you haven't used Book Creator on Chrome yet, you'll see right away, as soon as you jump in, there's the opportunity to create your own teacher library, then invite students into the library so you can take a peek at their reading response journal every day without collecting all of their notebooks or flipping through the physical pages. Now, you might also want to check out this new free ebook from fellow Book Creator Ambassador, fellow Apple Distinguished Educator, Paul Hamilton. He created this fantastic free ebook that shows how you can use Book Creator with different thinking routines, which is perfect for middle schoolers who are starting to take more ownership of their learning, who are able to talk about how they found an answer. And it's really a wonderful way to bring this into your classroom. And you can see Paul's free ebook at bit.ly/book creator thinking, and that'll take you straight to the page to view or to download his totally free ebook, which was also created in Book Creator. Now, because we're talking about this idea of thinking routines, and because we are talking about this idea of the English language arts classroom, I want to take you out right now for a live demo to show you what it looks like to create graphic organizers with Book Creator. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Book Creator here. Now you might want to head over to app.bookcreator.com. Remember, you have to be on a Chrome web browser to access this. If you do want to create a book as we go through the webinar today, and I'll remind you and give you some prompts to play along, remember to sign in as a teacher so that you can see some of the things that I'm doing here. So I'm here in my library. I'm going to create a new book and show you how you can use the Shapes tool to create graphic organizers. And students can create their own graphic organizers to map out their thinking routines. So I'm going to go ahead and hit New Book, and I'm going to choose Landscape so it'll fill up my screen so you can see it today. Now, if you want students recording their thinking, talking about their thinking, graphic organizers are a great way to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus sign here, and I'm going to go to the shapes piece and add in some shapes. So I'm going to add a circle right here and place my circle right here on the screen. Once I click on any element, including my circle right here, it'll be surrounded in blue. Then I can hit the eye inspector button and make some adjustments to this. Now I might want there to be a border here right around mine. Now the white border is not going to show, so maybe I want it to be purple. I might want my my circle to have a certain color in the middle, but I'm actually going to make it empty for now, and I'll show you why in just a second. I'm going to make a Venn diagram here. So if I click here on my shape again, and I want to go ahead and copy this element, I can make another shape once I hit paste that's the same size. And because I put no fill in the middle, these are now circles that I could put side by side, or I could pull right on top of each other. And I'm going to keep this one clicked so that I have my blue around it and hit the eye inspector button. I'm going to actually change the color of this one so it is blue. And so now I have a graphic organizer right here on the screen. So this could be used for a Venn diagram for kids in ELA in your middle school class to organize their thinking. Alternatively, when I hit the plus sign, I could use shapes, and maybe I'm going to do a rectangle and I want kids to organize their thinking in order. I'm again going to go ahead and say copy, and then I'm going to paste and put another one here, and paste and put another one here. And I can go back up to my plus sign to my shapes, and I can add arrows so students can go ahead and show the way that their thinking connects. I'm going to go ahead and copy and then paste this one here. And so this is a great way for your middle schoolers to create a graphic organizer. Of course, you might have a template for them, but they'll probably want a little more agency so they can show off what they've learned and their thought process using Book Creator. So now I'm going to ask you to go ahead, if you haven't already, to go over to app.bookcreator.com. I suggest doing your Google single sign-on, right? So you're in your Chrome web browser doing Google single sign-on. And when you get there, go ahead and create a new book just like I did and use that plus sign to add some shapes to your page. Remember, when you hit the plus sign, it'll show you media first. And then you're going to click right next to it to add some shapes to your page to create your own graphic organizer. And while you try that out, I'm going to take a peek at some questions and see if any questions came through. Awesome. So just some more suggestions that came through, or ways that your kids are creating different products, like book recommendations or morning announcements. Awesome. So go ahead right now, if you haven't already, and add a few shapes to your page. Remember, you can tap on it and you can copy and paste your shapes as well. That way you can have a set format or set colors or things lined up in the perfect way. Awesome. So as you are continuing to add some shapes to your page, I'm going to go ahead and keep talking a little bit about some other ways you can use Book Creator with middle school students. If you are in the science classroom in middle school, some popular topics are simple machines, biodiversity, the human body, environmental science. If you're teaching science with your students, you already know some of the hot topics in your middle school classroom. These are just a few ones you might see in some other spots, or if you're not spending too much time in middle school science, someone's keeping the back in your mind while we look at some examples. Now, because your middle schoolers may be in a tool like Google Docs, you might have them prep for their book by using Google Docs or another word processing tool that they're already in. Now, this is great because students can work offline depending on the tool they're using, or they can work collaboratively with many different people, giving feedback, doing all sorts of things that they're already comfortable in Google Docs. Once they do that, they can take their writing and turn it into an ebook. So their final creation takes all of the planning, all of the prep work, and goes straight into an ebook. Now, if you're looking at this and you're saying, Monica, how did you get that background on your page? Well, if you haven't checked into Book Creator recently, they've released some awesome new page backgrounds that you're definitely going to want to check out. And for middle schoolers, this is a fantastic feature because you can have conversations with them about connecting their pages to their content. So this is something where you would want to have conversations with students about audience, who they're publishing for, and what type of background is going to be appropriate for connecting with the theme of their writing or the topic that they're focused on. So when you are in Book Creator, if you want to change from a plain white background to something more engaging, make sure you haven't tapped on anything. You haven't tapped on your text or picture, so nothing is highlighted in blue. It's just ready to go with your page. Then you hit the Eye Inspector button, and you have a couple options at first, and if you scroll down, you'll see many more categories: comics, paper, borders, patterns, textures, you name it. So in addition to your solid colors at the top, you'll see whichever ones you've used recently, and then your categories right below. So when you go down to those categories, you can choose from some of the options you see on the page. I love the texture box, or the texture option. This will give you ones like wood paneling or like marble. So really cool, especially if you're talking about science, because it can help students connect to some of the content area and choose something that's connected to your particular topic of study as well. As we move down our list and talk a little bit about the math classroom, Common Core connections can include modeling with mathematics, making sense of different problem solving techniques, taking on the point of view of others as well, constructing viable arguments. So these are all things that you may consider as reasons to have kids writing and talking and sharing their math experiences in Book Creator. So I want to spotlight a favorite app smashing tool that you can bring into your math classroom and into your Book Creator journals, into problem solving, collaborative books, however you're having students talk about their math learning. So the Math Learning Center is a fantastic online resource. They also have mobile apps. It can help students model math and prepare them to talk about their learning. So I'm over here in my web browser, and if you head over to the Math Learning Center, their website is full of free math apps. So when you go to their free math apps section, you'll find their Apple and Chrome web apps as well as their web apps that are ready to go. So in the middle school classroom, you might have students using fractions, number line, talking about money, the Geoboard. Some of these are ones you might use with younger students or ones you might use with older students, depending on your particular topic. But I'm going to take you out now to Geoboard. We're going to go ahead and open up the web app since it's going to fill up my web browser really nicely. Now, this is a Geoboard you might use with elementary school students, but for middle school, we might want a little more space. Now, if this looks familiar, it's because this is a simulation of what you would see with rubber bands on a traditional Geoboard. So I can pull it out right here. Now for something like this, you might have students grab a pen tool, they might write on their screen, they might model and say, I know this is this type of triangle, it's scalene, isosceles, equilateral. They can name the triangle, and they can also model how they might have found area of the triangle as well. So lots of things they can do within the Math Learning Center apps. Now, if you are on a Chromebook, you might use a Snagit, the Chrome web browser, or you might use a different tool to capture your screen. On my Mac computer, I'm just going to do Command-Shift-4. That's going to allow me to grab my screen and take a screenshot of my geoboard. You can hear that little camera go and it saves it to my desktop. So when I go into my book, I'm going to make a new page pretending that this is my math journal. So you're going to go ahead now and I'm going to take you through a live journal to show a live demo to show you on the journal page how I can create a model and add it to my book. So you saw me go straight to the Math Learning Center, make a quick triangle, and then go ahead back to my book here. Now, when I go to my plus sign, instead of the shapes we looked at before, I'm going to hit import. And now I'm going to go to my file button. It's going to let me pull straight from my desktop the screenshot I just took, which is of my geoboard. Now, depending on what your students are working on, you might have them shrink this or move it to the side of their screen. Then they can use the plus button to open up this box of options, press text, and they can explain their thinking. So they might say something like, I can find the area of this triangle by, and they can talk about how they found the area of the triangle and all the steps that they took. You might also have them use the plus sign to use the pen tool so that they can mark up the sides of the triangle. I'm going to go ahead, change my width, change my color, so they can say this is one size, this is two sizes, right? This is a third different size. And when they hit done, that'll layer right on top. They could also use the plus sign and record their voice or take a video recording of themselves talking about how they solved their problem. So lots of options on what they can add to the page. So what I'd love for you to do right now is to use the pen tool and add a drawing to your page. So you saw me hit the plus sign. You saw me use the pen tool to make some marks to annotate on my triangle to show off how the sides of my triangle were different lengths of each side. Now you go ahead and choose the pen tool. You might change the width like I did or change the color. We know annotation and modeling thinking is so important in middle school. So as you go ahead and use the pen tool, I'll peek to see if any questions came in. Okay, cool. So I saw one of the questions came in about the shape tool and your shape being filled in. When you go to tap on your shape and hit the eye inspector button, make sure to choose the fill as none. So instead of choosing a color for the fill, you'll choose none, and that way it'll be see-through. Another question came in about the backgrounds. So when you are on your book creator and you tap to choose the background, you should see those new options pop up. So as we're going through now, go ahead and try out the pen tool so that you can add a drawing to your page. Great. And if you have more questions, you can send them through now as well. Good. So if you are using the pen tool, try changing the color, try changing the width, and when you are done and you add it to your page, you can always resize it or move it around. It's totally up to you. So the tool that I used to get the triangle was from the Math Learning Center. So I went to the Math Learning Center's website, used their free app Geoboard to get that background for my page. I took this screenshot and added it, imported it as an image to the page. Great, well, let's keep moving through to talk a little bit more about what you can do with Book Creator in middle school classrooms. So in social studies, some popular topics for middle school are government, civic practices, economic systems. Those might be some things that you are studying with your students. One blog story I love to highlight here It's from a book creator ambassador, Rachel Smith. Now, this is an iPad screenshot, but you can do the same thing on your book creator on Chrome. And you can find her story at bit.ly/book creator interactive. In her blog post, she talks all about creating interactive guidebooks with students. So as you see here on the page, she has her students typing in, writing everything in text. Then they've added illustrations, and they can go ahead and add even more to their page. Maybe it's another photo, maybe it's something they snap with their camera, or maybe it's some of the annotations on the page that take place with the pen tool. So absolutely something that's great in the social studies classroom where kids might be exploring a community or sharing a community story. As we move through to think a little bit about foreign language and the arts, there are some special book creator features that your middle schoolers will love, and I absolutely suggest that you leverage with them. This might include voice capture, narration of pages, using different images and video curation to choosing the very best things to put on their page. So if you are using Book Creator with your middle school students in any subject, but absolutely in social studies, foreign language, or the arts, you might want students to add audio to their page. How do you do this? Well, using the microphone built into their device, they can hit the plus sign at the very top of Book Creator and then hit the record button. If it's the very first time they're using this feature on Book Creator, you might see a message pop up. Now that message could include something like, or do you give permission, or do you allow Book Creator to use the microphone? So as long as you say yes, kids will be able to use the record feature built into Book Creator. So once they hit the record button, it'll ask them if they're ready to start, and then it'll count down and start recording audio. Now, this is great for middle schoolers who are ready to talk about their learning, who are building their confidence, talking about their learning too, and who want to add audio to their page to connect to a larger audience. So definitely something to think of if you are using Book Creator with the middle school group of students. That audio is something that's perfect for them to talk about their learning, or to even turn their book into a read aloud with their very own voice. So remember, you can add audio to the page by hitting the plus sign at the top and then recording your voice. So go ahead and try it. On your page, hit that plus sign at the very top and record your voice. So add that audio recording to your page, and I'll take a peek to see if any more questions came in. So Book Creator definitely allows recording audio on Chromebooks. You just want to make sure that you say yes when the pop-up comes up. I saw a question come in about that. So as long as you say yes to your microphone, it's definitely something you're able to do. I do it on Chrome all the time, and I've had the chance to work with some schools and some teachers this year, some students who have used this on Chrome to record their voice and add it to their page. So definitely works. So take another few moments to record your voice if you haven't already. It's an awesome feature that's perfect for middle schoolers who can talk about their learning. Great. So a question came in about limit to number of pages in their books. So there isn't a limit to number of pages. I always suggest keeping things, in a nice, concise manner so it won't take too long to load or to save or anything like that. But you don't have to worry about that in Book Creator. You can make as many pages in your book as you want. And if you hit the pages button, once you're in edit mode, you can even move them around, similar to the way that you've done before, maybe in a PowerPoint slide deck. You can move the pages and reorder them if you need to. So let's keep moving forward. I'm so excited to share a link to a blog post by Kathy Hunt, another Book Creator ambassador and fellow Apple Distinguished Educator and just fantastic art educator. She has a whole blog post on the importance of setting up kids for success with professional products. So she talks about how you can add illustrations to your page in Book Creator, how you can think about font and color scheme with students. So as your students reach middle school and move away from their elementary creations, they can start making some changes and really thinking about their audience and how to make sure that their product, their ebook that they create, is visually appealing and communicates information in a nice, easy way. And I love this example from her blog post because it shows how, right, if you're creating a book, say for younger students, maybe you're a seventh grader designing a new book for someone who's in kindergarten or first grade, you would want to choose fonts and colors that are appropriate for your audience. You'd want to label buttons so you can say things like press for sound, so students know that you are asking them to go in a certain direction. So if you are a student creator, a middle school book author, and creating something for a partner classroom, collaborating in that way, that's definitely something to think about, right? Your audience. And Kathy Hunt's blog post, which you can get at bit.ly/bookcreatorprofessional, is a great one to go for some extra information and resources about this too. So in middle school, you'll want to check out the real-time collaboration feature that's part of the upgrade or the paid version of Book Creator. We did a whole webinar on real-time collaboration earlier this summer that you can watch right now if you wanted to on Book Creator's YouTube channel. With real-time collaboration, right, you can combine books, you can share screens, you can brainstorm, you can provide feedback in real time, and this is what it looks like. So when you have more than one student in a page, right, they are working on different elements. You see their little avatar, their little names in the bottom right hand of the screen. And I can tell that Ruby is working on adding an image. I can tell Will is adding his voice just by looking at this page and inviting students to collaborate there too. So in middle school, collaboration is so important, setting kids up for success when they are working with peers. So if you're in a library like the one you see here, and I've clicked on a book that I want everyone in the library to collaborate on, I can hit the collaborate button. Then you'll get a message that says everyone in this library will have access to the book and can edit at the same time. And then you can hit start collaboration. And then you get a special little icon in the upper right hand side of the page that means everyone can jump in at the same time. And then you'll see, like you see my avatar and Dan's little avatar there too. You'll know exactly who's working on the same page with you at the same time. So collaborative ebooks are fantastic ways for students in middle school to talk about their learning. This could include recapping moments from a field trip, class book recommendations, a small group research reports, whole class reflections, you name it. So many things that can happen when you have your middle schoolers in a collaborative book together. So as students in middle school are preparing for high school, you may want them to use Book Creator to create portfolios, for them to create digital components to go with applications for high school or summer programs or special programming. You may want their ebooks to be content specific or to really focus on sharing their own interests so that they can show off what it is that they're interested and excited about before entering in high school. So a couple questions came in around getting started with Book Creator. A question came in about Book Creator's team. Yeah, they're based in the UK, but they can answer all of your questions about getting this set up in your US schools too. So I saw a question come in about that. You can always shoot me an email or the sales@bookcreator.com. Folks, and I can make sure you get connected with the right person to make that happen no matter where you're located. So you can do the things we talked about today completely for free, 40 books in one teacher library. Now, if you do want to take advantage of that real-time collaboration feature that I mentioned, you would need the upgraded plan. If you're working in a whole school, you can head over to the pricing page to get information on a quote for your whole school, or you can email the sales at Book Creator team directly, and they can answer your questions about that too. So before we finish up for today, I'm going to take a peek to see if there's any other questions that came in. So this is the time to type in your questions in the question box. And of course, if I don't get to your questions before we wrap up today, or you come up with a question tomorrow and you want to send me a message, you can always do that too. Or if you're watching this on the recording on the YouTube channel, you can always send me a message as well. So I'll keep looking out to see if there's any more questions popping in. A few important things for you to know before we wrap up today. Book Creator has one more summer webinar live on the schedule for just shy of 2 weeks from today, so August 28th at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll be focusing on high school, using Book Creator in high school classrooms. And you can also access all of the recordings on Book Creator's webinar channel. So this webinar recording, if you're joining us live, will pop up later this week. You'll get a message when it's up if you are signed up for this particular webinar. You can always, of course, follow along on Twitter. The Book Creator folks will tweet it out once it's live, or you can go to bookcreator.com/webinars and get a list of the past webinars for this summer and links to watch them right away. Now, some special free resources you'll definitely want to check out. Book Creator has a whole bunch of free ebooks. If you go to bookcreator.com/books, there are 50 ways to use Book Creator in your classroom. The Thinking Routines book that I mentioned by Paul Hamilton. There's 2 great books on high school and elementary. And then I wrote 2 books for Book Creator this year with science projects and reading responses. So lots of things that you can use to get started right away with your middle school students and beyond. So thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm so excited that you were able to jump into this webinar, whether you're live with us today or you are watching the recording. Make sure to head over to Facebook so you can join Book Creator's special Facebook group for educators, or to say hello on Twitter at Book Creator App, or to use the hashtag Book Creator to share the awesome things you create with your students this year. So thank you all so much for joining today. If you have any more questions, you can always shoot an email my way and make sure that you get your questions answered. So thanks so much for joining us. I can't wait to see what you create with your middle school students this year.